This video is about adjusting the platter in a Beogram 4000. I will show how to adjust the platter height and to get the vertical alignment right. For more information, please visit my blog at beolover.blogspot.com or go to my website at www.beolover.com. This here shows the relevant section of the service manual. So we have two tasks. One is to adjust the height of the turntable, so that's the distance relative to the chassis. And then the second task is to do the vertical adjustment, the vertical alignment of this bearing. So this is the tilt angle, and of course we want to have this perfectly orthogonal to the chassis. The height adjustment is done by moving the bearing up and down until one gets 13 millimeters between the bottom side of the tone arm and the platter surface. Since the height of the tone arm tube is 10 millimeters, we can also use the upper end here and then adjust to 23 millimeters. This is what I did because it's a little bit difficult to measure this here with calipers. Now when it comes to the vertical alignment, there are these three set screws with which one can tilt this bearing a little bit to either side. This is just because of tolerances, so this wiggles a little bit in its thread, and with these three screws we can essentially level the platter. Now they say here one should tighten the nut A lightly, so this is this nut here. In my experience, it is better to not tighten it at all, just to sort of put it in very close proximity to where it seats here, and then use these three screws to essentially fix it in place and get the vertical alignment right in that process. So for doing this adjustment, the tools that we need is a 1.5 millimeter hex wrench for these three set screws, and we need some calipers. Digital calipers are of course best, so we can get this measurement here precisely. Okay, let's do it. So the first thing is of course to do a baseline measurement, so we know where we are, that we can adjust. Now we will measure now at 3 points, because any plane is defined in 3 points in space, and so with the sensor arm you can cover this quadrant here basically. So we will measure here, here, close to the center, and then back there. So let's see what we get. So you just drive it to the start position, you measure, and here we got 23.07, so that's a very good reading. Now we drive over to the center and now take another measurement without bending the tone arm down. So here a little bit careful. And here we got 23.09, so that's also good. So we are very well aligned here in this axis, but you will see now here 24.59, so we need to lift it up back here a little bit. Unfortunately, to do the adjustment, every time you have to take out the platter and the sub platter and then put it back in and do a measurement. So here we take out the platter and the sub platter. So since we're already pretty close with this platter, I didn't really have to adjust the height of the bearing. So this here is the actual bearing, right? And this bearing has a thread on the outside, and with this thread you can move it up and down. Now I decided for this video I will demonstrate how one would adjust this if one had to. So let's see. So the first thing that I did is here mark the position, so I would get it back to the right position after my demonstration. So now you take the 1.5 millimeter hex wrench and you unscrew these set screws. I give each of them one rotation so I can get it back to where it was. And here comes number 3. And now this nut is loose, so I'm just holding now the bearing in place with my other finger, and I screw that nut up, and here you can see the bearing now. So this has this thread on the outside, and there's just a thread on the outside here in that base, and so with this you can screw this up and down, and with this get a base adjustment of the height of the platter. So now I'm just putting everything back, and now we can do the lateral adjustment. So remember, in this case, we need to lift the platter up back here a little bit. So this means I need to screw this set screw a little bit down, and in exchange I need to loosen these here up a little bit so we can tilt this entire thing a little bit over to the front. So that's what I'm doing now. So I'm loosening the ones up front here and cranking down in the back. And of course, this type of adjustment that takes a little bit of trial and error, right? So now we have to assemble it and do the measurement again and then see what we get. And so after you do this about 8 times, then you will have it right. Okay, here's my final measurement. It took me about half an hour. And there we go. 23.03. And now let's see if we're still level in this front axis. Alright, not too bad, 23.09. And let's see now if we were successful in the back here. And indeed we were, 23.16. Alright, now you know how to adjust the platter in a Beogram 4000. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.